It's a Trev Stone show, you need a veteran, a pro whose head is in the know. Reppin' Michigan cold, Upper Peninsula bruh, but worldwide listeners, 1 million views on the internet on Pro Sports Extra. Dishing up with the ghost who's interviewing us 12 years old. That's how lead it is, chat with comedians, athletes, Saturgenius. News so fast it's immediate, way past intermediate. Podcast, you're needing it, facts to computer shit. That's what the future is, guests are about cash, entrepreneur shit. Moving on the music jam. And the hottest Instagram models, you can view the gram. Get the inner insight of those that had their wins right. Get a higher view through a window like it's in flight. You desire for the truth, entertainment trends right. So it's time to start the show and get the insight.
Alright guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Trev Stone Show. This episode we have on special guest as every episode, but this guest is Brittany Gilman. She's a sports agent. She runs BG Sports. She was a professional snowboarder for a little bit. She brought some great energy to the show. So, yeah, Nick, what was your thoughts on Brittany before we dive into it?
I thought this was a really good interview. Fun guest. Kind of showed the marketing and promotion side of the sports world. Kind of how she does that and how that came to be.
Yeah, for sure. She was an awesome guest, guys. So I hope you enjoy. If you do enjoy, be sure to leave 5 stars here on iTunes. And if you want to watch this on video, if you're not already, you can go to youtube.com and look up Pro Sports Extra, and you'll find the Trev Stone Show on there. Or else you can go to prosportsextra.com to find more of these episodes. So enjoy. All right, guys, let's welcome on tonight's guest, Brittany from BG Sports. She's been building this for a while now. How are you doing during this quarantine, first off?
I'm actually doing really, really well. I am home with my mom, and my dad lives not too far. So I'm really enjoying the time being home. It's very unexpected. And when in life as an adult, you get to go live with your parents and have everything taken care of. It's temporary, but I actually been really enjoying this.
Yeah, where are you at right now?
I'm in Grand Junction, Colorado, which is my hometown, and this is actually the house that I spent the majority of my childhood in. So it's pretty cool to be back home. I'm loving it.
Yeah, what are the rules like there? Are they really strict? Because like here in Michigan, they're like having like protests in Lansing and stuff, and there's like thousands of people getting out of their vehicles, right, and like holding up signs against like the governor, and like are they not thinking they're spreading this virus at all, or like? It just blows my mind. So like, what are the rules like there? It's like, honestly, because we have like a bunch of writers at PSE that live in Michigan, and like half of them are for the governor, half are like against her. And it's like, sometimes I'm looking at it, I'm like, you guys don't have to have thousands of people try to protest right now. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think it's just people are getting stir crazy, and they, you're always going to have a variety of people. The actual the information is really difficult to tell what's real and what's not, and a lot of times the news and the media, and depending on what news and media outlet it is, obviously report different things, and a lot of it's fear-based. So people are going to have their own perspectives, and some are going to be a bit ignorant, in terms of thinking that this isn't real. As far as the rules and regulations in Colorado, we're at a stay-at-home order. Where I'm at in Grand Junction is actually it's a small city, and we don't have a lot of cases, which is pretty incredible. My mom's a nurse, so she's in the hospital every day, and my sister, she's a surgeon, and she's near Denver, and actually they have a lot of cases there, and it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
PPE, the personal protective equipment that she has to wear, is actually much nicer than what they have in New York. So, but they don't even have these patients quarantined. They're on the same floor as people that are going in for a gallbladder removal or people having babies, and just because they don't.
And that's what's really scary about this is people are downplaying it still like it's nothing, and it's something. Especially by the time this airs, because this airs on April 24th. By the time this will be like the second day of the draft. By the time this airs, things might hit the fan even worse.
Yeah, everywhere's different too. It's depending on the restrictions and when the restrictions were put in place, and they're talking about opening up the country. Well, I think that's a little premature. And
well, Florida's already opening beaches up. We just had a former NFL player on like half hour ago, and he said that they're like opening the beaches in Florida.
Oh my God. yeah, that's
just blows my mind. Right? Yeah.
I don't want to be negative.
Yeah.
Right. So let's think a little positive, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of hard during this time. Nick, do you got a couple questions you want to fire away?
Yeah, I'm curious about your business. I've been looking at the website. It looks like you guys do a lot from representation to branding to all that. I'm just curious as to, you know, what all that entails and what you guys do for clients.
Okay, well, we do all of the above. So we're an international sports branding agency, and I recently became certified as a soccer agent. So that's very exciting and probably the newest thing to add to the repertoire. But
the many things.
Yeah, many things. But it all goes hand in hand, and I think it's really exciting for me because I've been working in sports branding now for, 13 years officially. Before that, I was a professional snowboarder, and I always did my own deals and represented myself. So I didn't realize at the time, but I learned quite a bit when I was an athlete, and then I was a strength conditioning coach. And I started BG Sports to bridge the gap between opportunities available for athletes and getting, you know, those opportunities into the hands of the athletes. So that's what the main objective was when I launched BG Sports. And through the course of its lifetime, I realized that there are so many different areas in which athletes need assistance and in which you can build brands. So we kept adding more services, and basically present day, our main services include public relations, events, event production, digital branding, which includes website development, social media management, content strategy. We also do community relations and business development. So in summary, that's a lot of stuff. And
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So what obviously you said that kind of representing yourself got yourself started in that kind of business, but what got you into snowboarding and skiing growing up? Was it just because of all the snow or what?
Well, there's not snow year round where I grew up. There's snow in the winter, but I was the youngest of three, and my dad and mom my dad, it was probably him, put my brother and sister on skis when they were very, very young. And so I was the youngest and kind of just followed that path. And I learned how to ski when I was 2.5 years old. My brother and sister were very competitive, and they participated in ski racing starting at a very young age. And thus I followed in their footsteps and was ski racing by the time I was probably, 5 years old. And I ski raced from 5 years old to 12 years old. And at that point, I did the Junior Olympics in slalom and Super G and GS, and it was very fun. And that was amidst a bunch of other sports that I was competing in. But at 12 years old, I think I hit a rebellious stage, and I wanted to do something different. And so I learned how to snowboard, and I fell just completely in love with it. And it was a new passion and a goal and desire that I wanted to be the best that I possibly could. And that started at a really young age.
Did that end up leading to you getting any offers for college?
Well, because snowboarding was not an NCAA sanctioned sport, that it didn't directly lead to that. There were club teams, but they didn't have the money to offer scholarships. So unfortunately, I didn't get a snowboard scholarship through the university. I did get a scholarship through a separate organization that basically just gave money to go to school for snowboarding, but it wasn't through the university itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you still snowboard much now? I know you said you were, that's why you're in Colorado now, right? It was a trip for that?
I snowboard as much as I can, but with the lifestyle that I live, it's really hard. I'm not in the mountains a lot, and it's just one of those things that you have to make a plan to say, okay, I'm going to go snowboarding. And, you know, I go several times throughout the year, but nothing compared to what I used to do. So I really miss it, but I do treasure the time that I get on a board.
So you represent a lot of athletes. What's the difference right now with this quarantine going on? How are you communicating with them different? What are you having them do? Are you like having them do different programs at all? Or what do you do with these athletes?
Well, every athlete we work with is different. And what we try to do is adjust the strategies and what we're offering them depending on what their objectives are and what they're trying to do at the time.
Right.
No, it's really challenging because one of our clients, for example, typically during this time we're planning his charity golf tournament and his football camp. And we can't do that right now. And so what we try to do is think of other ways in which we can assist them. So how else can we generate revenue and support for their foundations? How can we keep them busy? We have a lot of our clients doing media because obviously the media outlets are looking for ways to generate unique content. Right. People want an inside look into how are these athletes adjusting and what are they doing during this time. And so we work closely with media outlets all over the world, and we set up interviews with our athletes. And again, it depends on the athlete. So we just set up an interview with one of the football players for Manchester City today and ESPN too, and that was great. And then we also were doing a lot of stuff with the UFC fighters and you know, just trying to keep guys busy. And we talk to our clients as much as we can and really try to help them stay positive and try to be productive, because even though we're all set at home and it's difficult for everybody, there is a lot of opportunity here. And it's during these times and the individuals that can recognize the opportunity that they really can distinguish themselves from the rest of the competition.
Right. Do you have any stories from your early days, like one of your first maybe NFL players that you represented? Any funny stories you want to share?
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't.
You have a smile, so there must be a bunch.
Oh, there's so many stories. But I don't really, you know, I'm basically the equivalent of a lawyer. So I don't necessarily tell the realities of the individuals and what happened and stuff. But I mean, we have tons of stories. One of my very first clients, he used to come to LA all the time in the summers, and we also do concierge. It's not something we, you know, advertise, but it kind of comes with the territory. And so there were a lot of, you know, nights out. And I just remember one time he was trying to hide from the paparazzi, and it was the SUV that was out front to pick us up, and he saw the paparazzi and he sprinted and jumped in the back of the truck. Not in the doors, like he didn't have to get in the truck. He opened the trunk and jumped in the trunk. I can't say who it was, but it was one of the funnest times that we've done.
So one thing I wanted to ask you about. Oh, sorry, Trev.
No, you're good.
One thing I wanted to ask you about. I don't want to put you on the spot again, but looking at your Wikipedia page, you were a part of the USC football team with, you know, the Pete Carroll era. Anything you can tell us about that? You know, I know there were a lot of big stars, a lot of big personalities on that team. Anything you tell us about that, or even Pete himself, or do you not want to get into that?
That was an insane year. Yeah. And it's really crazy because during the time that I was there, although it was monumentous to think of this team going towards its third national championship, you didn't realize it at the time, you know, and especially now in retrospect, when you look back and you see the things that happened and how they took Reggie's trophies away. And it was truly a monumentous time, not only at USC, but in college football. And it'll go down in history forever. And that alone just is giving me goosebumps thinking that, you know, I was a part of that. I was there during that time. It was very challenging. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I was one of two females in the weight room, and we're talking about USC during the time, and there were no professional football teams. And so SC was basically the professional football team, and the talent on the team was the equivalent. I mean, you look at the year that I was there, and probably, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm exactly right on this percentage, but there was, you know, 20, 30 players that went on to play in the NFL. So to be there during that time was tremendous. The personalities of the players varied. Some guys, the most famous athletes, were the nicest and respected me initially as a coach. And that was really challenging to gain the respect of the players, not just as a peer, because I was very close to them in age. I was maybe 22, 23, and these guys are not much younger than me. And I'm very petite. You know, I'm 5'3", and I walk in the weight room and I'm trying to tell these guys what to do. And some guys weren't having it and other guys were. And as I was saying, one of the most famous players on the team, he was probably the first player to actually respect me as a coach. And I'm forever grateful to him. And I've told him many times that I'm so grateful that he did that, because it was really challenging. And then to have someone, you know, one of the top guys at that time listen to me and respect me as a coach gave me hope and really helped me to get through difficult times. But Pete Carroll was incredible. You know, the energy that he alludes just it just comes out of him, and he's happy and he's smiling and he's always so positive and he's motivating, and just being in his presence inspires you. And it was a lot of fun. And I remember going out to practice every day, and that was one of my favorite parts about the job, was just going to practice and watching the guys work. And Coach Carroll sometimes would call me over and be like, here, take my phone, and because he'd be in the middle of something, and I wasn't very close to him. I mean, but he knew I worked for the wait staff, and he was always very respectful and appreciated what I did as well. So that was quite the time in my life.
So I'm also looking at your Wikipedia page right now. It says as a child you started airing in commercials. Can you just how young, first off, and did you just know you were going to kind of be a star, or what? Well, you hit it when you got a Wikipedia page. First off, you're somewhat of a big deal.
Well, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be an actress, and that's actually still something that I would like to do, but I'm not trying to go through the process of auditions.
Yeah.
So I have a whole nother strategy that I'm working on. I'm not going to tell that to anyone yet, but
okay.
In retrospect, hopefully in the future, we'll look back on this interview and I'll, but I did several commercials. I was basically the face of the local ski resort called Powderhorn, and that was really fun. Although they never paid me.
No.
I think they took advantage of the fact I was young, and I was like, yeah, I'll be on TV.
Right.
So I did several commercials for them, and then I also did a couple shows for the Dinosaur Museum called Really Short Shows. I think I was, oh my gosh, probably 6 or 7 years old.
Gee.
And
wow.
I was hosting these shows for kids. It was really fun. I still have the videos, actually. They're pretty funny. One day I'll reveal them to the public.
In 2008, you were on another show, right? A reality TV show or something like that?
No.
Wipeout?
No.
You were?
We have to dig up the video?
No, don't do it.
We're going to look it up now.
Yeah,
I wish we could just play it right there real quick.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, actually. I was doing fitness modeling for a while, and so my agent at the time, and this was the first season of Wipeout, so no one even knew what it was, and the way that my agent described it to me was, oh, it's a really cool workout show where you do an obstacle course. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll totally do it. And in the audition, they're like, well, can you do something physical to impress us? And I did some variation of a push-up, and they're like, oh, you're perfect. And that was I remember showing up and was like, what the heck is this? What am I supposed, you want me to do what? But then the athlete came out of me, and then I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do this. And to be honest, it was a lot of waiting around, and you were just in this trailer, and I think I made it through the first obstacle course. I think I was 3rd or 4th fastest time. And so I was like, yeah, and then the second obstacle, which was the semifinals, was this thing where you had to stand on these pillars that were maybe 15 feet above the water. And then they had in the middle, it was another pillar with 2 arms that rotated around, and you had to stay under one and jump above one. And so I'm 5'3", and I have a good vertical for my height. But at some point, when you're talking, you have to get in this space that gets smaller and smaller. And I'm 5'3". I didn't last very long in that round. Yeah, that's not my most proud moments.
Looking back on it.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to say you were on it, though.
Right, for sure.
I mean, my clients made tremendous fun of me, and they would call me every time they would air the show and be like, oh, you're in Wipeout! And I just be super embarrassed. They'd be like, shut up! Turn it off! And they'd make fun of me for many years. One of my clients in particular, he used that as a make fun point for a bunch of times. So...
So you started BG Sports in 2007, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Since then, what obstacles have you I don't know, as a sports agent and a woman as a sports agent, it must be a little harder. Just like you talked about being a strength and conditioning coach or whatever. What's the obstacles that you've had to overcome so far in your career? Because obviously you're becoming one of the most household names.
Oh.
You are, honestly.
I didn't know that, but thanks. Well, I would say, being a female is hard. It's has its positives and it has its negatives. And a lot of the struggle has really been to learn how to navigate those waters. I think one of the greatest challenges was being taken seriously as a female, and also balancing being feminine and being able to live my life and do what normal people do at my age. But also you had to really adjust that because you're looked at differently. And because of the way that I look and the way that I dress, I had to be very careful not to dress a certain way and not to act a certain way.
Right.
Because people judge you regardless. And especially when you are next to big name athletes, most of the times they would think, oh, you're dating him or you're his girlfriend. When you would meet people and my client would introduce me like, oh, is this your girlfriend? Is this your wife? Is this? And that's always happens. Right. And that's just the territory, you know, something that you have to take with what you're choosing to be in. And that's definitely been one of the biggest struggles, is trying to maintain the life and a regular life while being in this industry. And how do you know what to wear? And if I wear this dress, they're going to think I'm sleeping with my clients. But yet you want to look nice and you want to, you know, I work my butt off to stay in shape and to be fit. And I like to dress up. I love to go have fun. But it's finding that delicate balance, which is really challenging. And having people respect you, and especially they see you initially, they don't respect you. Like they look at the way you look and they think that you're stupid, or, you know, that you're not actually skilled and talented. And that's probably been one of the biggest challenges. And I don't have it as much present day, obviously, because I've been doing this for a long time. But in the beginning, that was really, really hard to deal with.
For sure, I bet. Nick, you got any more questions?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask, you mentioned you got certified as an agent in soccer. Now, when you say agent, are you like negotiating contracts, or is it more just like the marketing and branding type thing? Or are you like a full service kind of thing where you negotiate a player's contract with a team, not just with a brand or something?
Yeah, and that's a great question. So I've been a marketing agent for 10 plus years, and there's no real certification to be a marketing agent. So now I'm actually a registered intermediary for U.S. soccer. So that means that I am an official licensed agent for soccer. My specialty and my business partner's specialty is international transfers. So I recently became officially certified in January, and that was super exciting. But then that's also kind of when the pandemic hit.
Right.
So it's been hard to get things up and running. But I've also, for the past 5 years, I've been living between London and LA. And I do a lot of international branding for athletes all over Europe. And that's why I decided to actually become a registered agent, because almost every meeting that I've been to all throughout Europe, France, Italy, Portugal, Spain, the agents that I've met with have asked me, do you have connections with the MLS? And so I really saw that it was an area in which I could help. And also with the branding expertise, it's kind of a great relationship to have to offer the athletes, in terms of we can help to bring you over to the United States, and we can also do the branding. And if we know a guy's going to come over here, we can start years in advance. If we know a soccer player eventually is going to end up in the US, or we know he wants to, even though we have no idea when or what team he's going to go to, we can put in things present day and start getting him media opportunities and coming to the SBs and doing things like that to start building his brand in America now, so that when he does make that transition, he's already kind of a household name. So that's something that's really exciting and that I've been working on for a while. So hopefully when this pandemic ends, we'll be able to get some deals in place. So yes, I am working with the players and the agents and the clubs to actually do the deals.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. During quarantine, have you been watching Netflix at all?
Yes.
Have you watched Tiger King?
I have not, because
oh, come on, you got to.
I mean, I watched an episode on TMZ that investigated it. That was enough. I'm like, it's too crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I don't like anything that has to do with animal cruelty.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to, and I don't know if that's what's in this show, but
it's kind of, there's definitely parts where that's in there.
Yeah. So I don't, I'm more of a Dean Snyder fan. I don't know if you guys know who he is on Instagram. He's amazing. He has a tremendous foundation in South Africa that he saves animals, and obviously black jaguar, white tiger, and stuff. So I'm more of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So what shows are you watching on Netflix?
I'm more of a movie person.
Okay.
I don't really watch a lot of shows.
Not even All American?
No, even though it's funny because Taye Diggs was a client of mine for years.
Yeah, that's why I thought about it, because I remember seeing him on your website before.
Yeah, so I know he's on that show, but I haven't watched it yet because I don't know. I'm trying to be productive and watch educational stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
I'm gonna watch it at some point, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Are those the shows that you guys watch?
I honestly, Tiger King and then All American I started watching, but it's like too much drama for me. It's like there's like 5 minutes of football every episode, and then like 55 minutes of like drama. They're like girls calling each other like, "Oh, our boyfriends," blah blah blah. It's like,
yeah.
Why is this a Netflix series?
Right.
But I thought maybe because of the football relationship that it might, you might watch that.
Yeah.
You ever watch that show Ballers? I just started it yesterday. It's about like a it might be similar to your space.
Ballers has been around for years.
Yeah, no, I don't watch any new shows. Like I think I just watched Entourage like for the 4th time since January.
Entourage is a classic. Well, good job finally watching the show.
Yeah, I don't watch anything new.
Ballers is I love Ballers, and it's always a really good reference for me to when people first meet me and I tell them what I do. I don't really bring it up a lot, but most times it's, especially when I'm in Europe, people, when I say I work in sports and I'm an agent and stuff, they're like, "Oh, you mean like Ballers?" Or they'll say like Jerry Maguire. I'm like, yes, exactly. It's a combination of both those shows, and it's a very realistic interpretation of the life that I live. So I love Ballers.
Yeah, no, I just started yesterday, so I'll keep that in mind. That's what your job and your life is like then.
Yeah, except I don't do anything financially.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because he's more of an advisor. Yeah.
Everything else is
right.
accurate.
All right, I don't know, Nick, you got any more questions? I think that about wraps it up for me.
Yeah, no, that's I'm good too. No, it was very nice to meet you. I think it was very good. And enlightening too.
Yeah, well, it's been really, really fun. I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks so much.
How can everyone follow you on social media?
So my personal social media is at BG Sport, and then the company is at BG Sports and Inc. So that's the same name across Twitter, Facebook, TikTok.
You use TikTok?
I do, but I don't. It's more like nature and the market. And to be honest, I just recently was educated in terms of the permissions that TikTok has to basically go on your phone and look at all your data.
Everything, yeah.
Really?
So I'm probably going to delete it, unfortunately.
But it makes me think, because I feel like Facebook and all those other apps probably have the same permission somehow.
I know. It's
scary in general.
Yeah, I know. But people want to find out stuff about you. They can find out stuff about you.
Yeah, they can find it out no matter what.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Perfect. Well, thanks, Brittany, for jumping on. I appreciate it. And we'll definitely look forward to having you on again.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been really fun.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Brittany Gilman from BG Sports. We talked about a whole bunch of different stuff. Awesome guest. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave 5 stars on iTunes. Follow me on Twitter at TrevStoneCEO or on Instagram at TrevStonePSE. Be sure to tweet this out if you enjoyed the show. And also give Nick a follow on social too.
Yep, at Nick PSE on Twitter. That's NIKPSE.
And right now, Nick is only on Twitter for those wondering. So go ahead, follow him, follow me. Check out more episodes on ProSportsExtra.com. Check us out on YouTube. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe. Leave 5 stars so we can keep pumping out content. Peace.